afternoon, everyone. This is Tony from our Homestead Skills, and I have to keep remembering to say our instead of just her. I occasionally slip up. Anyway, we are pretty much packed up and ready to go. I know that most of you know that I have been preparing probably for the last couple of weeks, trying to batten down the hatchets here, see what has to be done, because I will be leaving Canada for the next 6 months, and we'll be heading down to our Alabama homestead tomorrow morning. So I am working on doing the last load of laundry right now. I have scrubbed the place down. I have spent time with my children and trying to organize what needs to be done here while I'm away, and who is going to water my plants. And my granddaughter may be spending time here because she goes to school not far from where I live, but quite far from where she lives. For her, it's at least an hour drive to get home. And if the weather is really bad, my daughter asked if she could stay here, and I said certainly. As far as I'm concerned, she could stay the whole 6 months if she wanted to. But I don't think she wants to. I think she wants to be home. So, you know, this is not home for her, but, and she doesn't seem to mind doing the drive for now. That's the thing that I've always hated about winter, was doing the drive in the snow. So, you know, she may soon tire of that herself, but we'll see how that works out for her. Now, there's so much going on recently, I don't know where to begin. I guess we could begin with what Trump has been up to. And it was interesting yesterday to see Israelis dancing for joy because the peace process is underway, and apparently a peace deal has been signed. And the amusing thing is that even the Palestinians were thrilled to have this war over and done with. So everyone on the eastern side of the world seems to be very happy with Trump. They're just thrilled with everything he's doing. They're thrilled with him having taken a strong position with both parties, because I think that's what it took. I think he had to say, well, either you're going to play it this way, or you're going to allow yourself to be flattened, or you're going to play it this way and we won't support you. Like, whatever the case is, I know he probably used a little bit of pressure on both sides, but maybe that's what it took. Maybe that's what it needed. And so far, it looks like there is a peace process, and there are players in the East, Arab world that will be part of this process. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens the next few months. But what the most amusing thing to me was how they were praising Trump's on that side of the world, and here they still hate him. At least some still hate him. We still have issues with Antifa, and I'm quite familiar with who Antifa is. We do have an Antifa in Canada as well. They're a little bit quiet now because the Liberals are in power, but you know what? If the Conservatives were in power, they'd be making a lot of noise here as well. So that's just the way they play it. And yes, there were years where they were pretty active here. So I think that Trump designating them as a terrorist group is a good thing. From what I can tell, I'm certainly not an Antifa supporter. I believe in law and order. I think that there has to be one rule of law for everybody, not that some people get to raise hell and burn buildings and Lord knows what else and get away with it while everyone else suffers because of their actions, and they don't have to pay for their actions. I mean, everyone in the end really will be responsible for what they do, whether they think they will or not. They think they get away with things, and nobody ever gets away with anything as far as I'm concerned. You know, if this law doesn't catch up with you, the good Lord will. So there's a reckoning. There's always a reckoning. Speaking of a reckoning, there's also this young man that apparently was the one that started the Palisades fire. Wow. Wow, that is You know, and he's been found and charged, and well, we'll see what happens with him. But I don't know. I don't think he can be totally, you know, he may have started the fire, and arson is absolutely wrong, but I think that as well, personally speaking, that the government was very lax in having the means to put out those fires. So they should have had a little bit more. I mean, they know that that area is prone to fire, and fire is spreading quite easily. So they should have had a game plan in place which could have at least minimized it rather than maximized the blaze. So, yeah. And then again, there is also the Canadian truckers saga is finally come to a close. The so-called ringleaders, Tamara and the other fellow, I forget his name, they were found guilty of, I guess, being the ringleaders, although I think that people were certainly willing to protest the government mandates on COVID for as long as what they have. I mean, that was a miserable time, and the government really had a very heavy hand on people in those days, and everyone was getting tired of it. So the truckers, well, they had these big rigs, and they drove them to Ottawa, and they stayed for 3 weeks in front of the Parliament buildings, honking their horns, and actually, Mark and I did go up there one weekend, and it was unfortunately, it was very, very cold. Otherwise, you would have thought of it as nothing more than a street party. I mean, they had bouncy things, and they had children's games, and they had barbecues out in the street, and, you know, everyone was having a good time until, of course, the government, rather than coming out and talking to them, you know, our so-called leader, Mr. Trudeau, coming out and talking to them and putting an end to it. His ego could not accept the fact that somebody was defying his rule. Anyway, Tamara and the other fellow were finally charged, and they didn't get more prison time, and it's a good thing because for a charge of mischief, they ended up getting whatever time served plus 18 months, I believe it was. House arrest is what they got. I don't know if the time served, you know, some of it gets put up against that 18 months. But they have house arrest and I think 100 hours community service. So that is better than what could have happened. On the other hand, they have so many other crimes that much, much more serious, and those crimes only received, say, a small slap on the wrist, and it just would have been completely unjust. I mean, they were trying to go for many years jail time for these people. So I guess it's the lesser of evils, and that saga is finally over and done with as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very, very interesting next couple of months and years. Trump is certainly becoming a very interesting leader, and definitely making waves and making changes. And I also understand that there is a government shutdown going on right now in the U.S., which means that some parts of the government have not been financed, and therefore people are not getting paid to work, which, you know, I guess government employees are not getting paid. Whether they're actually going to work anyway, I don't know. I'm not really totally familiar with how that system works. It's completely different than Canada's. And in Canada, we have a postal strike going on right now. Again, I think we had one not too long ago, but we have another postal strike. And our Canadian postal system is quickly deteriorating. It is, I understand that they are delivering half as many mail pieces as what they were 5 years ago to about twice as many different locations. So it's just a system that is quickly becoming, I mean, it's not been profitable for a long time. So either they have to make some big changes. I mean, I still get door-to-door delivery here. And a lot of new developments don't, but I live in a very old neighborhood, old building, but the newer ones, no, they just have these boxes and everyone's got a mail slot, so they just go to this one box and put all the mail in. So I think they're trying to do that everywhere and doing away with door-to-door delivery, at least for personal. I don't know what they want to do for businesses. But, and of course, the folks at the post office are fighting that. It would mean a lot of loss of jobs. So we have another postal strike. I don't know how long that's going to go on. I thought I heard today that it might be over, but I haven't really paid close attention because my mind has been elsewhere. I am doing my last-minute catch-up here. I haven't done much canning. I haven't done much cooking. Well, anything special anyway. It is more use up everything that I can in the refrigerator, try to minimize any shopping to bare essentials and not have a fridge full of things that are going to go bad. And there's really not much left. You know, we keep as much in the freezer as possible, and there's not much there either. So perishables are pretty much gone by the wayside, which is good. You know, there's only a little bit, and I can just leave that to somebody, and not a big deal. So that's what I've been focusing on, is how to batten down the hatchets here, or what to do to lock this place up for 6 months, and how I can make sure that I get my mail, make sure I get my plants watered, make sure I pay my bills. Fortunately, most of them now can happen electronically. The one bill that I was worried about was insurance, that up until now they always sent everything by mail. And I guess perhaps because of the ongoing issues with the post office, they've also turned to electronic mail, which is another reason why the post office is a dying business. They do a lot of package deliveries, but even that, you also have a lot of courier services that do just as good, if not a better job than they do at delivering packages. So it'd be a shame to lose the post office, but unless things change, we will lose them. Anyway, today is the last day, catching up on my laundry, and I will probably leave this place as tidy as I possibly can, so that when I come back, it's not going to be a huge job to integrate. I mean, the change is always the hard part. It's not being here and it's not being in Alabama, but it's just a transition from one to the other. Two completely different environments, and they both require an adjustment. So I had also become comfortable being here again until you know that you're not going to be here for very long. But I am looking forward to going back down south. I am looking forward to seeing if I do have any black walnuts, the walnuts themselves, and hickory nuts, and whatever else. I know I've got tons of acorns, but I won't be collecting acorns because I have a lot of oak trees, a few different kinds as well. And I have been checking my security cameras every day, and there's been no people disruption at all, which is really nice. Nobody's come anywhere near the door. Nobody's even come up the driveway, which is wonderful. But we have deer there every single day. Like, it's getting to the point where the deer and the raccoons, but mostly the deer, have taken over the grounds. And I have seen a fox. I think it's a gray fox. And I have seen hawks, I guess. I forget what kind of hawks. I haven't seen them lately, but lately it's been the deer. The deer have been coming out to the side of the house where my azalea bushes are. And I mean, they're literally up against the side of the house, and the camera is pointed there. one of the cameras is, just so that we can make sure that nobody comes to that window at that side of the house. But the deer are there every day, and sometimes 2 and 3 of them. So they've made themselves at home. I wonder if they will stick around after we show up. And of course the raccoons, which I hope will disappear when we show up. Really don't want to see them around too much. But yes, it'll be interesting to get back. I will have a tremendous amount of yard work to do. Now, the yard work is something I have no issue doing. I've always preferred to be outdoors doing things. And I think the weather out there right now would be perfect for working outside. And Mark's got his work cut out for him. There's some structural work, and there is probably the gutters that we have to, you know, there are certain jobs that have to be done pretty much as soon as possible, even before we get to the jobs that we would like to do. But we'll see what we can accomplish. We'll be there for 6 months, and it may be only a minimal, but we'll see what we can do. We'll do the best we can with what we got. And of course, some of it depends on finances, and we don't want to get it over our heads on finances either. So we're going to be careful there. But we're hoping to be able to do as much as we can with the little that we have available to us. So should still be good. Anyway, we will be out and about first thing in the morning. Yay! And we should arrive in Alabama sometime on Sunday. So Saturday evening we'll be staying in Kentucky. Just drive as long and as hard as we can, and hopefully we won't have any issues on the way. Hopefully everything is a good, safe drive, and by Sunday we should be in our own home. Of course, the first thing I do is make up the bed. And then after that we look for something to eat. So the first day is just getting our bearings, getting in there, and making sure we have a place to sleep and something to eat. And then from there, we'll see how much we can get done. Anyway, yeah, and I know one of the first things I have to do is yard work. Definitely yard work, because it's been neglected for the last 2 months. Anyway, looking forward to being there, and I will be posting hopefully a lot more videos. And well, that's it for now. This is the last video before we leave tomorrow morning, so I just wanted to be able to post something. And we'll talk to everyone real soon. Bye for now.